Welcome to the Powercat Podcast, the original K-State sports show. Here's your host, Tim Fitzgerald.
Welcome to another edition of the Powercat Podcast. Football season is almost here. Guys, it's 2 weeks. The game is 2 weeks from Saturday. Huh?
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, the back end of this summer has just flown by. It was July and then all of a sudden it was August and here we are off and running, but we're going to do a podcast about it. We're going to be pre-recording a lot of the stuff for the game week because we'll be in Ireland and it'd be a lot better to do it here. That's my way of saying Gilbert and I will be drunk a lot that week and probably not equipped to properly do things. You'll be lucky to get a daily delivery that is done sober and without a fake Irish accent.
What do you think about the DD, the drunk?
The drunk delivery. That's not a bad idea there. Just give into it. I'm sure 24/7 and CBS would absolutely love that. Absolutely. The same with my offer to get Michael Beasley on a podcast and interview him while we're both stoned out of our minds.
We do numbers.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely brilliant. I really do want to do that, but not here in Kansas. If we did that live, I think the RCPD would raid the house during the show.
It would be a legitimate raid, and you would both get arrested. But to top it all off, you should just do it on Fake Patty's Day. That'll make him very happy.
Oh, that's a great idea to do it then. They're busy.
Yeah.
I'd go out of state to do it. I'd probably go to Kansas City, but maybe I just run away to Colorado for a while and do it from there. I don't know. I know this. Our deck kicks ass, and the only reason it kicks ass is our friend at Helping Hands Remodeling. I got to find my stuff here. I've hidden everything. Helping Hands Remodeling. Make sure you hit them up at mhkremodeler.com. You can find their number easily. Gabriel does an amazing job. Our deck is ready to party when my niece stays with the dogs when we're in Ireland. I don't know if that was really what I wanted, but I don't think she parties. I think we're safe. The dogs might party.
Yeah.
Let's get going with your questions from Wabash Station. Yellow, she said they're good. They better be. They better be, buddy boy.
There was only one that was over 200 characters, so we're making progress.
Is that the one from Buyer's DVM?
The one that looks like it had a bunch of words taken out. That one.
Well, that one looks like a paragraph and a half, but it's not this one. This is from Mac 90. Do you expect us to have a clear RB1 as we had DJ and Deuce, or a true running back by committee where 2 or 3 backs split carries evenly? Which is preferred? I think that's the two extremes. There's a lot of area in the middle there. I go back to Coach Climate's first season, 2019. It was running back by committee, but James Gilbert got most of the carries. I think that's where we'll be with this group. I expect Dylan Edwards, if healthy, will get most of the carries. They love Joe Jackson. They love other guys. They love the whole room, basically. They think they all can contribute. I think it'll be primarily those two guys, but there might be a third person in there. And I just think that Dylan Edwards proved he needs the carries in the bowl game, that he can operate as a every down back. But, like every back, they have to come out of the game at some point. And I think we'll see that more often. We'll see Joe Jackson more than we saw Dylan Edwards last year. Yeah, I asked Brian Anderson that when I saw him this week. How does it feel to have a real hunt for, how you're going to split the carries as opposed to having Deuce or DJ back there, which he's had his entire time other than that first season. So I don't know. I think they're going to be fine. I'm not a big by committee anything. I'm big of if Joe Jackson is absolutely tearing it up in his opportunity, you don't take him off the field. You find a way to get Dylan involved, but you leave him on the field. Go with your hot hand. That's my better idea.
I think this is the deepest running back room that K-State's had under Chris Kleiman. So, we forget that Dylan Edwards was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. And I understand that, recruiting rankings aren't everything. And Fitz, I had sent you guys a message looking at the blue chip ratio. And If you're not familiar with the blue chip ratio, there's been, Bud Elliott of the Cover 3 podcast come out with this formula basically that says if you have over 50% of your roster as blue chip recruits, then you have an increased likelihood to win a national championship. We're not talking about make the playoff or win the Big 12. We're talking about win the national championship. And there's been, lots of different theories and disputing to that. I'm not going to get into that. But what I will tell you is, guys, K-State could, in theory, you look at guys who have been 4-star recruits. Joe Jackson, by some services, not by 24/7, but by some services, was a 4-star recruit. Dylan Edwards was a consensus 4-star recruit. Devon Rice was not a 4-star recruit, but the fourth running back on this roster, Antonio Martin, the transfer from Louisiana Monroe, who spent some time at Georgia Tech, guys, was a 4-star recruit out of high school. I mean, they have 3 4-star running backs by some services, one service in that room, and I don't even know how much Antonio Martin can play. So really what this is doing is it's setting up a very good problem for Brian Anderson to have. And to answer this question, I don't think it's going to be by committee. I think they're going to let Dylan get as many carries as he can handle. They're not going to give him too much, but they're going to let him have as many carries as he can handle, because as we've seen, when he touches the ball, he is a threat to go the distance every single time.
Yep, I agree, man. And we talked with Avery on Wednesday. Videos up here on this YouTube channel. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. But Avery kind of talked about Dylan, and just not to say he jumped on a moving train, but there's a lot on your plate if you're Dylan Edwards. And obviously, I know this was something we talked about, guys. Everybody wanted to see more of Dylan Edwards last year, but there was a lot on his plate. Maybe not just mentally, learning the playbook when you're splitting out wide versus when you're in the backfield and all that above the neck stuff, but just, dude, think about the fundamentals and all the things you have to get right at every different position, at every different skill position on offense, right? And Dylan Edwards was kind of doing it all. And right now, Dylan Edwards is much more comfortable in all aspects to be more of a player that you see on the field closer to, 80, 90% of the snaps rather than whatever it was last year, 50%. So Dylan Edwards is obviously the guy, but there has been a lot of hype and buzz about Joe Jackson. Now, is there some coach speak in there? Sure. You never know. What are they going to say? This guy sucks? No, they're never going to say that. They're always going to hype a guy up. But Joe Jackson's going to get his minutes. I'm already on basketball right now, guys. He's going to get his snaps, but make no mistake about what Dylan Edwards brings to this offense.
I agree with all that, boys. And yeah, if you haven't checked out our YouTube page, maybe you're watching it right now, but we have the interviews from the 4 players and Van Malone. We've been at everything that has been available to us. A lot of videos up there. And in fact, he mentioned the Avery interview. I clipped part of that in my daily delivery this morning at the site or at YouTube. You can go check that out. And also, if you're not a subscriber, perfect time to do so. 50% off right now across the 24/7 Sports Network. Gilbert's been working on our weekly content schedule, and it's awesome. It's awesome. So I'm fired up for this football season. Make sure you enjoy the coverage at GoPowercat.com at half the price for an annual subscription. Take advantage of it right now and head over. You'll see that green join button. That's how you start the process. Next up, Buyers DVM. This looks longer on the screen than it does on the right than it does actually up on the. Don't be a downer. Okay. But my fear is not to be a downer, but my fear is this team winning just 7 games. If that happens and Avery plays well, do you think he'd be repeat Will Howard did with the hitting the portal house? How is Avery going to play well and this team wins 7 games?
Mm-hmm.
I can see that if they go to Ireland and Avery breaks a leg or something. I see worse than that, but if Avery Johnson's playing well, I don't think fans appreciate the physical difference we see in Avery. And also, hopefully, after my daily delivery is released, people understand how good at self-evaluating he is. Gills, you heard that answer to that question. That was brutally honest. Basically, everything fans said throughout the year that Avery was doing wrong, he acknowledged, and he owned it. So I think this team has a lot of talent. It's very deep. It's a manageable schedule. It's got some really tough stops on it, but I don't see this team winning. I mean, that'd be the worst team outside the pandemic Chris Kliman's had. 8 has been the lowest number, right? And I think they're poised to go double digits. I don't know, but I certainly would take the Vegas of 8.5 over 8.5. But I don't know. Thoughts, guys?
Well, if K-State's going to go 7-5 here, they're definitely going to lose the first game agast Iowa State. You're not going to go 7.
By the way, guys, he had 7 to 8. I had to shorten it, so I put 7 anyways.
Okay.
Sure. So 7 wins. You're going to lose to Iowa State. That's 1 loss. You're probably going to lose to Baylor. That would be 2 losses. Maybe at this stage, you're either going to lose to Arizona or KU. I'll say you lose to one of those. There's 3. And then you're probably going to lose to either Texas Tech or Oklahoma State. That's 4. And then you're probably going to lose to Utah. That's 5. So I think at the very worst, I can't see all those things happening, by the way. Like I can't see that happening. But if that does happen, it's because the quarterback's not playing. Fitz, you brought up injury, but I just don't see any way that Avery Johnson plays and this team only wins 7 games. Yeah. I just can't see that happening. For all the mistakes that Avery made last year, I personally, looking back on it after kind of going through, and we put a really cool article of Tail of the Tape, which if you're a VIP, you can go check that out, that looked at some of his best plays in K-State's wins. If he can harness that and put that together, then you're right, Fitz. This team can win double-digit games. But even if he doesn't, if he plays the exact same as he played last year, the schedule is more favorable on paper this year than it was last year. I can't see this team taking a step backwards. You're right. That's not something that Chris Klieman has done. And if they do take a step backwards, Avery Johnson is not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Who would want him? If he can only win 7 games at K-State, no other big name school is going to want to take a chance on him.
It was essentially a mutual decision for Will to leave.
Yeah.
Will had more to prove at Ohio State. Kansas State had the next shiny thing in Avery Johnson behind him. So at the end of the day, I don't think any party was too upset with what happened, what transpired. Now, and this is with all due respect to Blake Barnett, Jacob Knuth, Teodecki, the signee.
Dylan Duff as well.
Right. So with all due respect to those guys, none of them are on the same level as Avery Johnson. So there's not going to be any, I don't want to say push, but there's not going to be any reason K-State would want a guy like Avery Johnson to leave. With Will Howard, you're okay with him walking because you have Avery Johnson ready to go, right? He is absolutely ready to go. And we saw that with an 9-win team last year. Right now, you don't feel nearly as good. You might have to go grab somebody out of the portal, Adrian Martinez, which there's going to be guys out there that you might feel comfortable with. But if you're Klieman and Matt Wells, would you rather take this QB1 or what's behind that other door? You have no idea what it's going to be. You're taking QB1. You're taking Avery Johnson. Right now, there's no way they're going to just happily give the keys to somebody else that's in this program right now.
I agree. You know what? People want to make something out of that Will Howard transfer that's not there. It was pretty emotionless. I mean, it was business. Will knew he needed to get a new challenge, and becoming the backup quarterback his senior year wasn't on his list of to-do things, because Avery was that good in practice. But also K-State had seen Will, and let's be honest, I don't think his junior year he was that good. He was good, but I don't think there was anything there that you said, boy, they can't afford to lose him when he had a guy like Avery around. And basically they traded a veteran for a guy that's going to give you maybe 3 years as a starter. That's an equation people seem to forget about when talking about this. Yeah, Will Howard was better last year. He really was. He was outstanding at Ohio State. He had better players around him, but his move was brilliant for him. He's got a ring for it. But Avery got his season under his belt where he learned a lot of lessons, and they won 9 games. In no way was that a bad move. And if he really is going to be better this season, as opposed to him playing now with no experience, this is the payoff year for that trade, essentially. This is the payoff year. And if he sticks around another year, which is happening now with quarterbacks, the NFL wants him to stick around, which is good for college football, then it'll be very clear that that was a great move. But you got to play the games.
You guys know how much I love baseball, and to kind of bring this full circle.
What?
I know
He's going to do an analogy. He's going to do an analogy.
It is. It's the bingo check. So if you're playing Powercat Podcast bingo, Cole talking about baseball and an analogy, you probably hit 2 in a row in one comment. But the Royals traded Zach Greinke to the Milwaukee Brewers for Lorenzo Cain and Alcides Escobar, and the Brewers got Zach Greinke and made the playoffs with him. Eventually, he left, signed somewhere else. But the Royals got those 2 young players and eventually had total team control of them and parlayed it into a World Series victory. So if you kind of look at it from that perspective, this kind of thing happens all the time.
Yeah.
Was it sad to see Zach go? Yes, just like it was sad to see Will Howard go. But K-State's betting on the future with Avery Johnson, just like the Royals bet on the future, and it ultimately paid off with those 2 guys. So I don't think that this, idea that Avery Johnson is somehow worse than Will Howard because he was a true sophomore starting quarterback last year. I don't give that any merit because I think Avery is going to take huge steps forward this year.
Think about the excitement, guys, of this upcoming season. Everybody would be high on Avery Johnson if this was his first year, but deep down, you'd have to know that he's going to go through those younger player mistakes. The fact that he went through what he did last year, the game in Provo, he had double-digit interceptions, right? He's much more set up for a Big 12 championship run here this season. If you had Will Howard around last year, who knows how many games K-State wins? That's neither here nor there. You'd be hitting the reset button essentially at the quarterback position. So that's also, like you said, Fitz, this is an equation. You got to keep a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, variables in mind.
To build off of Cole's baseball analogy, when you get to that season, when it looks like you can get over the hump and do something incredible, they got Johnny Cueto. Now, you can't get him in the middle of the season in college football, but you can look at your roster and say, if we had this, and you can go get it now because of the portal. Mm-hmm. So, I feel good about it. I don't know. We'll see.
Zobrist, the mid-year guy, or
he was.
He was.
Boom. That's a trifecta right there, guys.
Here we go. From King Jim 77. I miss, this is the only reason I miss there's a couple of them. The Overtime podcast, because I would always play the trumpets for the King entering the room, and I'd always play I don't want to talk about it anymore. Chick-fil-A got made fun of.
You don't miss it deep down, do you?
I don't miss, I haven't missed it one bit. I haven't. I feel like we should maybe do a question once in a while. Like just one question. Something related to sports but fun, and put that up separately. Let's think about that.
I like it.
Okay. This from King Jim 77. Would a Big 12 championship season playoff berth be enough to flip any recruits who missed out on in this 26 class? Maybe. Might attract some other recruits. The coaches haven't given up on anyone. They're not able to sign until December, so they're going to keep working on them. And we see kids decommit and change and end up picking a school that wasn't even on their original list sometimes. So Cole will be all over that, right, Cole?
I will. To answer this question though, I really don't want to say yes, because at that point, if K-State makes the playoffs, it's going to be December, and so guys are kind of already making their mind, but maybe. I don't know if it'll be enough to flip any recruits that K-State missed out on, but it might be enough to flip some recruits that K-State has been in on. We see that from time to time. Logan Bartley was that way. They didn't really recruit him until he was committed to Wake Forest, and then K-State ultimately got that commitment from him in the middle of the season last year. So we've seen that happen. I think that's probably more likely than K-State flipping guys that maybe they missed. But I'm definitely not saying that that's out of the question. I don't even think they need to make a Big 12 championship for that to happen, because it's the recruiting world. Guys, I will tell you that if Texas Tech collapses, that's definitely one to monitor, because Texas Tech beat out K-State for multiple guys head-to-head, and where it was K-State in the top 3, K-State in the top 2 situation. So if Texas Tech flops, I think that would be very good for K-State.
It'd be good for recruiting, and it might be portal worthy
Mm-hmm.
after the season. You might see guys say, okay, they spent a lot of money and I didn't play and we're no good, and hit the portal. I don't know. I'm not too worried about this. I think recruiting takes care of itself if you work at it. As Tom Asbury always said, it's like shaving. If you don't do it every day, you look like a bum. I haven't done it in 3 days. You can't tell because I'm Irish.
Tom Asbury said that.
Mhm.
Bruce Weber would be proud. I mean, we got bamboo trees. Bruce would be proud of that one, right?
Some days I miss Tom. It was eventful. It was eventful. It was never boring. Something was always going on. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I just want to play the games. I want to see where this team is. And I think, again, that'll kind of cinch itself up. If K-State is really good, which they have an opportunity to be so, I mean, if they're run the table good, it's going to catch a lot of attention and stir up the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And on an aside, Cole is Logan Bartley, your guy. He's my guy that's not going to redshirt.
Darian Whitaker is my guy.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's my guy.
I think
Bartley's right there too.
Bartley's going to be so good on special teams and able to come in on certain situations on defense if they got to play him. The dude came out of high school looking like a 22-year-old young man who's worked out every day. I came out of high school with baby fat. He has no fat. I don't know. No, it's not fair.
Hey,
You
Fitz,
look like you're going to say something.
I am. Can I just go ahead and pull up the last question here?
Sure.
And I'll take the first.
Why
How
are we
many players
skipping that
declared
other
for the NFL draft after the season, and if so, who will it be? This kind of ties into, you talked about the transfer portal, right? If K-State has a successful season, who departs, I guess, on their own? Obviously, transfer portal or NFL draft. If you're having a successful season, you're not going to have many holes to fill in, to plug in, as far as the top of your roster goes, the starters go, right? So, I mean, we can dive into this. I think a couple of guys come to mind, but there's absolutely not a surefire candidate that's going to go off to the NFL draft. A lot of that depends on what happens here in 2025 in the season.
Are you thinking, early entries in the
Yes.
draft? I mean,
Yeah.
Avery's
Yeah,
an obvious choice, but I don't think that'll be the case unless he's absolutely
Who'd you say?
incredible and is in New York for the Heisman ceremony.
Who'd you say?
Avery.
Okay.
But I can't. Dylan's just too small to go early. Even if he has a huge season, there's just too many question marks about him. I mean, look at Deuce. He's an incredible player, and he can't see the field. Maybe that's just because the Cowboys are bizarre. But there's. I can't really think of many people.
I got Avery, obviously, Fitz, as you brought up. I think Jace Brown is probably 1B. If Avery's 1A, I would think Jace Brown would be 1B.
Sure.
Just, I mean, Jace seems like the kind of guy who's willing to take on that next challenge. Let's be honest. If he has a really good season, he doesn't have a lot to prove. Like, what else does he have to prove? I could see that being a Jacob Parrish kind of situation where if you have the opportunity to get drafted, even if it's in the 5th or the 6th or 7th round, go take it if you're Jace Brown, because not very many teams are going to be going after 5'10" wide receivers even if you stay for a 4th year and put up monster numbers once again. So I would say Jace Brown would be another guy. I would lean Austin Romaine as well, just everything we've heard,
Good point.
but also middle linebackers are not the most that's not necessarily a position that teams covet anymore in the NFL. Like, I think that guys in the NFL who play middle linebacker can also play outside linebacker. Guys who play middle linebacker in the NFL can also come off the edge. So I think that maybe Austin Romaine would be up there, but those would be my top 3 would be Avery, Jace, and Austin Romaine.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, what was that?
That's the joy of living near Aggieville. That was just a motorcycle driving.
It was a
by.
motorcycle?
Nice.
It sounded like a fart. I was going to
You were
say
thinking of something else, and
I was
No,
going to
those
say
are
something
funny.
witty and funny, but I'm all out for the day. So it just sounded like a giant fart, which would not surprise me coming from you. Look, all of us have our own strengths, and inappropriate is your strength.
that's how I got hired with you.
Mhm,
Is
pretty
that
much.
Step Brothers when they're interviewing? He
Yes.
just rips out a
Mhm.
big one.
Yes. Okay.
Do you have something to say on this, Fitz?
Nope. Go.
I agree with what was said. However, I fear Austin Romaine might have that Brendan Mott syndrome, probably lack of a better term, that he's just better in college than NFL, just with his build and style of play. I'm not sure how well Romaine's game would transfer to the NFL. It might, but for him to leave early and get that good of feedback from scouts, and I'd have a hard time seeing Romaine leave after this year, let alone the fact that I don't think there's any denying he's, at the end of the day, whether he plays in the NFL or not, he's going to go down as a better college player.
And if that's the case, Fitz, before you go, if that's the case, Austin Romaine could end up in the Ring of Honor at K-State because he has an opportunity to be an All-American this season and to be a 2-time All-American. If he comes back for his senior year, then I think that he has a great opportunity to end up in the Ring of Honor.
You know, at the NFL level, he's probably strong side or weak side. He's not middle. So he's going to have to show something in coverage at some point. But I'm not going to put limits on this kid. I interviewed him when he was a true freshman thrown onto the field, and I see the kid now, and it's unbelievable. I say it again, relative to position, he's the best player on this football team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure it's even close. He has gotten so good that it's absolutely – I meant to ask this of Steve Stannard the other day, and I didn't remember to do it, but you think about the two main linebackers K-State has. Both of them were thrown into action at a young age because of injuries, and they weren't perceived as being ready for that. I've told this before that, I mean, it was Asa Newsome. They played before Romaine, and Asa got hurt, so Romaine came in, and he kept getting better. And yeah, I mean, Purcell does it too. So I don't know.
Mention the Avery video. We had quite the group on Wednesday. Just terrific young men. Elalio's joking with us. Line Gang's an awesome young dude. And then, of course, Avery and Romaine. Like, seriously, go check out our videos.
Liney, I asked him about the newcomers.
You called him Liney? Chris Kleiman has gotten to your head.
I called him a liar on radio today because he said they're going to be using the 3-3-5. It's who they are, and they're sticking with it. He told Dan Lucero at WIBW that, and I said, I don't believe that to be true. I think we're going to see more 4-man front. But what I love about Line Gang is he's not wrapped up in, I got to have it. It's mine. You know, I think JB Nelson might have taken his starting spot. And the great thing about him is, about Line Gang, is he can play guard or tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a guy you probably have as your sixth guy. And then if Sam Heck goes down, I don't know who the backup is there. If there's a guard that plays that, or is the true backup center? Be a good question to ask if I remember beyond this moment, which I typically don't. But yeah, I think the transfer portal guys they brought in, the two in this summer, I think they feel like they hit home runs. They got two starters. And if that's true, that means someone who was probably starting in the spring is out. Add into the fact that George Fitzpatrick is going to come back, and if Pastore's playing well, now you got 3 tackles. And what do you do there? Who's sitting down? So it's going to be fun to find the answers to all these.
How about Sam Hecht, man? Was that Damien that said that today?
Yeah. Yep.
Said he's the best lineman on the team. What did he say?
The best in the country.
That's a little far. That's so far. But yeah, and he is good. He's so good. We didn't know what to expect when they had this confidence that he was going to be good. And then it's just been no doubt. He's good. He's really good. And if you got a really good center, you got a chance. And if you're bad at center, man, your quarterback's going to get killed. So I don't know. One more to go. Here we go. From our friend Wagcat, do you think it's sensible for K-State to dip their toes into student fees for athletics or pressure the state of Kansas for funding? You know where I am with this, Wags. Why do you bring this up? I am pretty staunch, as KU fans have found out, about tax dollars, student fees not going to athletics at the power level. You make enough money, live within your budget. But I think we're coming to a point in college athletics now where the state of Kansas needs to say, this is a PR move that we're going to invest this money in these athletic departments. It won't happen. The state doesn't have money. If they sold, how about this as compromise? Sell marijuana and all of those proceeds go to athletic departments.
Be a lot of proceeds with you, Fitz.
Yes.
You say that as a joke, kind of, but like you know where the money for sports gambling goes to?
It's supposed to go to higher education, isn't it? Or
it goes to secondary education.
Right.
So like all the money that the state generates from people, being idiots and missing all of their parlays that we tell them to do on the Powercat podcast, Gilbert, all that money that they miss, it goes literally into education. So like, I know you say that jokingly, but like, I don't think it's far-fetched. Like the state of Kansas talked about wanting to get the Chiefs here. They've talked about it. They've talked about wanting to get the Royals here. If they really want to get and kind of dip their toe into the athletic side of things, I don't think that that's too far-fetched of an idea for the state to kind of chip in.
I agree. It's going to take someone to really lead that charge. I don't know. I'm not sure, but they're just missing out on revenue. I mean, it's just stupid at this point. Yeah.
There was an expanded explanation from Wags on the board. He said he read somewhere that K-State's one of only 8 national teams that don't take money from their state or from their students. And also said he also read, that K-State's the only school in Kansas to function this way. So I wanted to give Wags the full explanation of this question.
Oh, that's true. I think it's disgusting. There's only 8. Why should the taxpayers in California go pay for athletics at Cal? Why? They've got enough things they need to spend money on. I mean, why aren't they? If anything, even if you don't want to spend it on athletics, the institutions need the money. Higher education is struggling right now because, well, there's a lot of reasons. I don't want to get into that, but they've got to get creative. And as we kind of covered with how they've treated alcohol historically and now with marijuana, and I'm shocked they got sports gambling through. They don't always do creative things in the state.
Mm-hmm.
They get kind of bundled up and overly conservative about things. But I think getting creative with funding is going to be important. I saw that a KU fan tagged me. They got a $25 million gift for their facilities work. And I'm like, why are you tagging me? That's what I want you to do. What, you think you're sticking in my face? That's what K-State does with every athletic project. Every single one.
I laughed when I saw that. It did pop up on my face.
What point are you trying to prove? Because that proves me right. This is how you should be doing it. And now they're probably going to have a citywide tax to help pay the bills for this gateway project that has no funding. They spent the funding for that on stadium. Don't start me. Don't start. I don't know. Guys, anything else?
Is this the last podcast before Ireland, or will we have one more
next week?
Okay, that's right.
I have one next week, and God, what are we going to do? We should have one the week of the game, but I don't know how we're going to do that. Maybe Gills and I'm serious about this. Maybe Gills and I will just do it on a phone, just set up a phone camera and do it together. Sure. Maybe we'll do it in a bar. Drinking Guinness.
Now you're talking. Is there NA Guinness? Is that a thing?
What's that?
NA Guinness, non-alcoholic?
Probably not in Ireland.
Yeah. You probably get beat up if you're seen drinking that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask all Iowa State fans, and I know you're probably listening to a K-State podcast. Please don't smuggle Busch Light over.
I'll take it if it's there.
Look, I'm not a big beer drinker, but if I drink Irish whiskey for the whole week, I'm not coming home. I'm just going to end up a bum on the streets of. Oh, that doesn't sound bad. What did Fitz die? No, he just moved to Dublin and got drunk. God, that's a great way to end a podcast.
When you getting there, Cole?
We leave on Wednesday. We get there Thursday before the game.
Okay.
There's going to be a ton of people. I got to be honest. I am shocked at how many people are now going, oh, they sold the game. They shouldn't be doing that. No way. And then everyone seems to be going. And everyone can't afford it. I get that. I'm not making fun of the people that legitimately can't afford it. But I think the combination of K-State and Iowa State fans in Dublin is going to be absolutely epic.
Yep.
We're the same people. We just wear different colors. At least at K-State, they know what their colors are.
That's the real best way to end the podcast.
Black is not. Is black even a color? I don't know. Is it? Is white? Someone drop it in the comments. I would say just add black. Just make it part of your colors. You love it. It looks good. Do it. Hold on. I had it all ready to go.
This has been a GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street production. Please support this show by subscribing to this YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.